Okay, good afternoon. I'd like to call the Health Services Committee for August 23rd to order, please. And the first thing is I need a motion to approve last month's minutes.
I'll make the motion.
All right. Motion made by Mr. Strauss, seconded by Supervisor McDevitt. Any additions or corrections to the minutes? All right, if not, we'll vote on it then. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried. Thank you. And with that, Dee, I will turn it over to you. You have a lengthy agenda this month.
I apologize.
Well, that's all right.
So the first two items on the agenda, if you're okay with me doing them together. We received funding from the New York State Office for the Aging for vaccination of the homebound population. This includes advertising for it, transportation to clinics, education about it, and arranging for the vaccination and reminders, and then actually providing the vaccination itself. So we wanted to do memorandums of understanding with Warren County Public Health and Hamilton County Public Health for the total amounts of these total amounts of these fundings pots that we got from the New York State Office for the Aging. So the total for Warren County would be $11,577, and for Hamilton County, it would be $11,577. This funding goes back until April 1st.
All right, would someone like to make a motion on that? Supervisor Conover, seconded by Supervisor McDevitt. Any questions for Dee on that? Pretty
This is for 1 and 2.
1 and 2, yes, Mr. Strauss. All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried. Thank you.
And for the next one, I'm going to turn it over to the county administrator before we go into any of the rest of them.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just to give an overview of what we're doing here, the timing is a little sensitive on this topic. We have bids. I believe, Julie, correct me if I'm wrong. We have 3 bids that we do for the food. Is that right?
We'll get 4 proposals.
4 proposals. Right, but there's 3 separate bids that we put out. One for dry, frozen, and canned foods, a second one for meat and deli, and a third for dairy. These are commodity bids, so the current bids that we've been going off of expire at the end of this month. Because they're commodity bids, they can go in. The new bids that we received can go into effect on September 1st. These are for our home delivered meals and our congregate meals. The problem is these bids are not sufficient to support our meal program. You don't have all of the food items that we use in our menus included in these bids. In some cases, you don't have vendors with a willingness to deliver to certain sites. The pricing is higher in other areas. We can get into the nitty gritty of all of that, but what it speaks to is a situation where we can't keep doing the meal program the way we do it with these bids. We saw this coming. The problem is our current vendor was not able to participate in the bids this year. And that has to do primarily with they don't have drivers. They don't have enough drivers to support all of their business. It's an issue that is tied to what's going on in the economy right now. When we're notified, I believe was it June or July?
Late July.
Early July, we were notified by the vendor that they weren't going to be bidding again, and that we were going to potentially be in this situation. So what we did is we, in addition to these bids, we put out RFP for ways that we could possibly reimagine the meal program, with the idea being that our first priority is to the clients in getting as much continuity as we can possibly get. So it was a very, very compressed timetable. That's why we're coming to you, 8 days before these bids end. We would have gotten to you sooner if we could have, but we've been analyzing all these bids and purchasing, and we've had RFP windows that you have to abide by. You put out an RFP, give people a certain amount of time to reply. There's an evaluation. So Dee can get into what she sees as your options, what she sees as the upside and the downside of each option. But I think, need to have a conversation about how this program operates and will continue to operate at least for the next year.
So the current way that we're doing it is basically not going to work. Our estimated food costs are going to go up over $100,000 for the year. We will have 2 sites that will not be able to get any food, well, basically any of the dry, frozen, or canned food goods that they need. The remaining sites, they will not be able to get a majority of the items that they need to provide the meals that we have on our current menu. So we'd have to alter a lot of our menus. To give you some indication of what we wouldn't be able to get, we wouldn't be able to get cake mixes, Jell-O, shortening spray, breadcrumbs, whole wheat pasta, any type of spaghetti at all, any type of rice except for brown rice, any pre-made biscuits, which we utilize for our Cedars meal site because it's so large, any stuffing mixes, most of our baking supplies that we need with the exclusion of flour, sugar, salt, and butter, any of the pre-made cookies that we order, which again, we utilize for our Cedars site, any raisins, things like that. The other issue with the way that we're currently operating is our staffing. We have 4 vacancies and an additional one that we were notified of this morning. So as of September 7th, we will have absolutely no one at our Warrensburg meal site to make our meals, which is a significant issue. And Countryside Adult Home is not able to pick up the slack themselves because they have 1 position open too. So that's the current situation. And again, we're not able to basically put a Band-Aid on it or fix it so that we can continue with the current model that we have. So the RFPs themselves, the results of those, I don't know if we need to go into executive session to discuss those themselves or not, because it would be part of the negotiation process of a current contract.
Julie?
I would recommend an executive session if we're gonna talk about the details of all the RFPs or the proposals, because some of them were marked.
All right. Then would someone like to make that motion to go into executive session? Supervisor Conover, seconded by Supervisor McDevitt. Then we will be going into executive